it's hard to convey the value of long-term marketing efforts because people want to look at a post and go, wow, I got 3,000 followers. And we can talk about vanity metrics and how problematic that is later if you want. But yeah, that's definitely a conversation that I find myself having with pretty much every client.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
And you've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
And not just the content, but the data that you get from that content. Like, you should have logins to all of your own accounts. Your ad accounts should be run through your company. Like, one of the things that we do at Starling is we have a very rigorous onboarding process, which there's one for social, one for ads, etc. But part of that is ensuring that they are correctly set up under their own accounts, so that, let's say, we run a campaign, we do some Facebook and Instagram ads, and we submit a report. The report has all the data, it has takeaways. At Starling, I like to do reports that have bullet lists. I don't find charts and graphs, in my experience anyway, really convey what's happening to the customer. It feels like a way of almost masking information rather than being transparent about it. So literally our bulleted points will say ad one, blah, 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 did well because these reasons. It got this many shares, this many clicks, blah, blah, blah. Here's why we think that, right? Or it was targeted at this audience, what have you. Absolutely. So that's one aspect of it, but the other is literally listing what was your reach, impressions, your CTR on reach, your click-through rate on impressions, etc. And the client should trust us. I would hope they would trust us that we're telling them the truth, but they should have the ability to go into their Facebook ad account and confirm that those numbers are true. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by transparency. I don't want them mucking around in Ads Manager because you can mess up campaigns that way. And I literally have said to clients, look at the data, look at the dashboard, but do me a favor, if an ad is active, don't click on it. Please just don't click on it because something might change. Facebook is buggy, to say the least. But be that as it may, just telling them that is how we develop a trusting relationship with each other, right? Because it's really that's what business is. It's working with people you like and trust to do a good job and to do right by you and your business, right?
Right. And but they can see their ads. They can't touch it if they want to. Co-managing is, I recommend stay away from co-managing as much as possible. The finger pointing, you got to have a really, really solid team. Somebody's been working together for a long time before you can get into there. And everybody has to understand the potential pitfalls of co-managing any kind of project, much less creative projects. Yeah. So and with Facebook,
don't
you're
touch
right.
anything. Just look.
Facebook Ads Manager changes so frequently, and unfortunately, it's not even the same anymore for each user, right? Because the way Facebook rolls out updates, you could have half the staff on one UI user interface and another part of your staff on a different user interface, which is really bizarre to me. But that's what the metaverse that we're living in inside of the Facebook Business Manager is today. It is a monolithic effort to get through all of those things. It's a wild place to live.
Yeah.
On social media, and small and medium-sized businesses across the board in America and Canada and North America, say all of North America. What do you think the biggest hurdle is for small businesses in social media today?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there's a few, but one of the biggest that I come across is people don't know where to be investing their time. I'll have people come to me, potential new clients, and they'll say, well, I got to be on TikTok. Need to be on TikTok. And I'll talk to them and I'm like,
well, I had to be on TikTok.
Yeah. They're like, well, it's the hot new thing. And I'll say to them, okay, so let's think about that. TikTok is extremely resource intensive. One thing, that's a big issue. But is your audience on that platform? Are you marketing to those people? And there's a difference between being present on TikTok. Right now, you can't push people to your website from TikTok. So you're creating content and you're generating top of funnel brand awareness, but how are you using TikTok to convert your audience? And they often haven't thought about that. Or like I said, their audience, their target customers might be older demographics. I remember talking to a realtor who the majority of all of his clients were 45 to 60 plus. Like he almost never bought and sold to people in their 20s and in their early 30s because it's a really crazy housing market right now and none of us can afford it. But so we were talking about this and he's like, but I gotta be on TikTok. And I was like, buddy, this is not where your target demo is right now. The people who are watching your content on TikTok are probably not going to become customers of yours anytime soon. So while this could be a part of your strategy, it shouldn't be 100% of it. Let's talk about diversifying where you are present on social media and these different platforms so that you're reaching as broad both your existing and potential future customers as you can. So I would say that's a really big part of it. The lack of transparency and the, like you kind of said at the start of the conversation, how anybody can kind of be a marketing manager is a big issue. And I think one of the challenges lots of our clients are starting to butt up against is the need for video content. Everything moving to basically video and algorithms prioritizing video really changes the content creation process and how you have to think about and plan content like well in advance, while also being reactive to trends and things like that, right? So it's a big hurdle.
Right.
And it's something that, I'm thankful that an agency like mine, like we're pretty nimble on stuff like that. Like I do my best to be as tuned into emerging trends and things like that as much as I can. And I share everything I know with my team. But that's hard. Video content is hard. That's a couple of the ones I feel like a lot of our clients have been facing recently.
Okay, I agree. Not knowing where to prioritize is huge. There's all these opportunities and all of these narratives out there that saying you have to make extreme amounts of content and you have to be everywhere. I agree with it, but I also think it's a dangerous thing to say if you want to go and just start creating content with no objective, right?
100%.
Should you be on TikTok? Yeah. Absolutely. It's a great mind melt. You can scroll through it for a couple of times. Should you bring your business to TikTok? If there's a strategy to create either brand awareness or conversions, then yes. If there's no strategy for that, then let it be brain fodder for relaxation. Right?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So those are the places that they're struggling. What's one opportunity out there today that you see a lot of businesses that, man, if they just really, and maybe it's email marketing or TikTok or something that they're not, that it's a huge opportunity to scratch your head and say, man, why just isn't every company doing this?
I would say the two big ones are email marketing, totally email marketing. I literally had a conversation with a potential client yesterday about, he was like, well, what do I care? It's just email. Like, I don't know that any of my competitors have email marketing strategies. And I was like, then that's the point. Like, I like to think of email marketing as getting the spare key to someone's house. Because if you think about it, like if you're on social media, even if you're running ads, you're still competing with every other company in your niche, in your geo, etc. And algorithms are constantly changing, things like that. It's kind of almost a crapshoot in a lot of ways. And that's why it's so good to make sure that you're being adaptive and reacting to changes as they happen. But your inbox is private. Your inbox is like your little house on the internet, where because of privacy legislation, thank God it's not the 90s anymore, I can't just email you out of the blue. You have to either sign up and tell me that you want to hear from me, or you email me first. That's it. Those are the only two. Sorry, it started raining really hard. I'm not sure if you can hear that. But
no, we can't.
What's that? It's a good little stormy here in Winnipeg today. But it gives you such a competitive advantage. Like I was doing research. I give a lot of talks, and I was reading about how the average person spends 2.5 hours in their email every day. That is a bonkers amount of time for the average person to be spending looking at like just some messages, right? But that's a huge amount of time compared to like, I think TikTok people spend about 1.5 hours or 90 minutes or something like that on TikTok. And it's getting very intense over here. And it's a little bit less on Instagram, but even still, if you're competing for eyeballs on TikTok or on Instagram, that's a much narrower window to get in front of somebody. And that's just hoping that they see it in addition to all the other content that they may or may not have signed up for, compared to sending someone an email, it's going in their inbox. And not only is it going in their inbox, but they also have to interact with it. They're either going to delete it, they're going to look at it and choose to ignore it, or they're going to click on it, right? So they're going to take an action with that thing either way. So email marketing is a big one. And honestly, like blogging and content marketing has never gone away. And if you can create useful content that answers your customers' questions, it gives you such a competitive advantage, both in terms of SEO, making content for social media, becoming a thought leader, addressing concerns that your customers may have and moving them through the funnel faster. Like I feel like I'm biased because I've been blogging for 22 years and I have a personal blog, Starling has a blog, and getting people to understand the value of content creation and publishing it on your own website, not some other own domain, but your own site. It's such a power move that so many people just don't understand unless you kind of even explain this kind of in the way that I'm doing, right?
Right. Yeah. I agree. I think I hear all the time, oh, email marketing's dead. My audience isn't on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram. And I'm like, well, those are both absurd statements. Email marketing absolutely still works. Walmart does it. Amazon does it. Right? The biggest companies in the world are using email marketing to grow their businesses. So I find it shocking when somebody's like, oh, that just doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
When you come across that person, do you just go, okay, have a great day and move on with life? Or do you still feel compelled to show them that it does work or talk them through the process?
I always want to talk it through. I really believe that knowledge sharing is one of the best things that we can do. I always hesitate to call myself like an industry expert, but I really know my stuff. And people who don't operate in my industry and don't live and breathe what I do in the way that I do, that's okay. That's not their fault. I don't fault them for not knowing that. And I don't fault people for having incorrect assumptions about my industry and the best ways to generate a return on investment from your digital marketing. So I'll just do what we're doing right now. I'll use the examples that I just used and I'll just talk them through it. And if at the end they don't agree, that's cool. Generally speaking, if somebody doesn't agree with me, it's because they want to put their budget somewhere else and they see that like content is long-term ROI. You don't publish a blog post. It's rare that you like publish a blog post and you're like, wow, 1,000 customers, right? Like it's hard to convey the value of long-term marketing efforts because people want to look at a post and go, wow, I got 3,000 followers. And we can talk about vanity metrics and how problematic that is later if you want. But yeah, that's definitely a conversation that I find myself having with pretty much every client. Everyone that comes on board with us, I will ask them about content. I will ask them about email marketing. And that's my job. My job is to figure out what do they need, right? But the area that everyone at the start, it's really rare that a client comes to me and says, I want to have a blogging strategy included in my marketing. Usually I have to lead them there. And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they don't. But it definitely takes a discussion first in almost every case.
So, okay, let's dive into there because I've not talked a whole lot about blog marketing and long tail and all of those things. And I think, I have built one story, built an entire law firm off of one post, right? The top 50 things that you need to do before talking to an attorney about divorce, right? And built an entire law firm off of that one post, right? Made it an asset magnet. And, he was a federal marshal that was going into changing a career and starting his own law firm. And he was super nervous. I'm like, well, let's just try this, and I'll bet you start getting clients. And he's doing very well today, 2 years later. So,
excellent.
Blog posting strategy, long tail URLs that solve problems. What are some of the strategies that you've used that have just knocked it out of the park for people. And should every business be doing blog posting?
I honestly believe that every business should have a blog. If you can't write a post yourself, you should be finding someone who can write that content for you. And the biggest thing, like the example you just used, like it's the listicle. People love lists, right? So understanding the types of content that people
and
like
50
to read.
Too many. Like 10 to 12.
50 lot. It's a lot.
Yes.
It's yeah, I think like it's like 7, 12, and like 24. There's a couple of them that are sort of the like spicy ones everyone likes.
Magic numbers.
But yeah, exactly. Humans are so funny that way. Hey, we see like the number 7 and we're like, ooh, or like 10, and we're like, ooh, a nice round number. But so understand, right? But like, so understanding the types of posts that do well, and that's literally typing in best types of blog posts into Google. Like, so understanding the content types that do well, understanding your audience. Like we literally just published a blog post about this on the Starling blog. One of my account managers wrote it for us about, I think the title of the post was the number 1 question all of your content should answer. And the question is, what's in it for my customer? What are their questions? What can I teach them? How can I empower them? How can I make them feel good? I really don't believe in like negative marketing. I don't think you should neg your way into having a customer. Like I said, I believe in knowledge sharing and empowering people. And then understanding structurally how to write a post, how headers work, how to write for the web. Like, oh my God, I've been doing this a really long time. And so I have gone from, I don't know if you read the New Yorker, but like I read the New Yorker and I have to do it on my desktop because when I read it, it's a paragraph, it's the whole screen and I hate it. And a lot of people write that way. On the web, you have to be concise. You have to think about how to break up your paragraphs, how to like increase readability through things like bulleted lists, stuff like that. So there's a lot to it, but it's something that you can learn to do if you're motivated towards it, or if, you know, you want to hire somebody to do it. Those are elements of it that they should know. But also, like you said, you know, being strategic with your URL slugs and including keywords so it gets indexed by a search engine properly, things like that. Like there are so many aspects to writing a good piece of content that can sort of spider out into ways that you can generate awareness about your business and connect with your ideal customers. And like, I forget where I learned this expression, but like, are you familiar with like bricks and feathers? Like the concept of bricks and feathers in content? Yeah. Okay. So I love that. It's like a blog post or like a big PDF is a brick. Maybe your 50 listicle takes a long time to put together. You can disseminate that into smaller posts that you publish maybe on LinkedIn or social media content, or you promote it in your newsletter. Like it's thinking of content as big things that you can make and then how to break that up into smaller chunks is, like, in my view, one of the best things about content marketing, and having things like blogs as like pillars of that strategy is you can do so much with it in all the ways that I just described. Right. So yeah, long answer, short answer, everyone should have a blog.
Yes. And I think lists are great. Where I've made the most money on content marketing off of how-tos.
Yeah.
Right? It has been my experience, if you show somebody how to not use you, they will hire you to do it for them.
I was like, literally about to say that. Yeah. Yep.
It is so bizarre.
Stuff. You know what? But it demonstrates knowledge. Like we'll publish stuff all the time, like Facebook ads is one that gets me so much business. So we do a lot of posts about like how to optimize your Facebook ads, how to build Facebook audiences the right way, blah, 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 blah. And right. I think part of that is Ads Manager is a nightmare. And like you said, it's constantly changing and very confusing. So if you
now they've got like, the ad section and the Ads Manager, and they're different.
And Creative Hub and Business Suite, like
yeah. There's multiple ways you can do ad buys inside Facebook. It's so bad.
Mm-hmm. It's so bad. But showing that we know how to do that and saying like, well, if you want to do it, here's how you do it. Exactly like you said. Like, it's almost like you're convincing people not to buy from you. And then they go, oh, well, this person knows what they're talking about, so why don't they just do it? You know? And
I think part of it is, hey, this is my secret sauce. I know how to do this. Nobody else knows how to do it. Those days are over. And there's very few things. I mean, if you're deep into machine learning and artificial intelligence, yes, you can still say, hey, I know how to do this and nobody else does. But if you're on, anybody can buy a Facebook ad today, right? The ability to put money into the machine and show whatever you want to show to somebody else isn't that challenging. To do it well is challenging, but just to spend your money on Facebook is really easy, actually.
Totally.
Creating new money out of that is the challenging part. So showing people how to do that and, you know, building buyer personas and those kinds of things I think is a great way to market those services today. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're doing marketing services, you can literally show, hey, this is how you do it. If you're, you know, selling ovens, you can make videos on how to build the oven or how to make the oven or how to
repair the oven. You know, how to repair the oven. Even like we worked with an HVAC company that was doing blogs and video content, and we would do short form blogs that were basically bulleted lists with an embedded video of a technician showing someone how to do it. And those converted to people booking those technicians, because people would look at that and go, well, like, oh my God, I don't want to have to deal with repairing my air conditioner. This looks way too complicated. I'll just call these guys. Right. Totally works. And it's such an underrated strategy.
If you go back to the buyer's perception is something's broken in their house. They're going to go to YouTube or Google and look for, how do I fix this? They're quickly going to realize, I don't have the tools to fix this, or I don't want to do this. I can just pay someone to do it, right? And for the ad buyers, you know, you can also buy your ads inside those how-to videos that other people have created, right? Which is really powerful as well. So today there's all kinds of stuff out there that you can do to really be creative. Is there a box anymore, or can you really just make stuff up and go?
I feel like that's one of the things that I like about this, though, is that I don't think there's a box anymore. There's no like one right way to build a strategy. And I've never thought that. Like, one of the things that I love about my work, in an area where, like, to give myself a little back pat, I feel like I excel at as a business owner, is I'm very good at looking at various elements of a strategy or things like needs my clients have, and bringing those things together to put a strategy together. And having a foundation of writing and communication, that's an area where I can communicate that to my team, I can communicate it to my client, and I can really put together these like bespoke marketing plans that, you know, really meet all of those needs in sort of one, what's what I'm looking for here, just sort of like one master strategy, shall we say.
Right.
But yeah, lots of opportunity.
Yes. Multiple tactics put together becomes a strategy. Right.
You got it.
And all of those, you know, SEO is a tactic, there's video tactics that create a strategy, right? All of these different pieces together, put them into one encompassing strategy is, when you nail it, it's life-changing, right? Every time that I come up with a campaign that really works, it's like, wow, I didn't do this before. And you never know which one's going to hit, right? You can write 10 blog articles and none of them hit, and then that 11th one, for some reason, takes off, right? Gets indexed. Getting number one on Google for almost anything can bring you a lot of money. So, Alyson, if somebody wanted to work with your firm, one, who is your ideal client? Who's the ideal business that you like working with?
You know what? I like a couple of different sort of client segments. I really like working with small to medium enterprise businesses that maybe have a dozen to maybe 200 employees is kind of my sweet spot. And the reason for that is they're big enough that they can afford us. And I feel they have enough resources internally that we can collaborate together. And I don't feel like I'm stretching them thin when I ask to interview somebody for a post, or we want to have somebody come down on site, or whatever have you. I like clients who travel to stuff. So I find that a lot of them in that bracket tend to be going to conferences. In the before and now time, there was a break. So that type of thing. I also really like working with nonprofits. They tend to not have as big a budget, but I like knowing that my work is contributing to our community and to the communities of the clients that we're serving. So that's something, like I also do like a lot of volunteering and that type of stuff as well, because I feel like as a business owner, I have a responsibility to give back. So working with nonprofits also helps us sort of check off that little box for me. But yeah, I would say small to medium SMBs is kind of my sweet spot.
Awesome. And if somebody's watching the show and they want to work with you and your team, how would they get a hold of you and find you?
You can visit our website. We are at www.starling, STARLING.social. So Starling like the bird. You can also give us a follow on social media. We are at Starling Social, all one word, everywhere except Twitter. Yes, it drives me crazy. Yes, that Starling Social, all one word, is not an active account. I don't know how to get it from this person. It's driving me crazy. But everywhere else, we are at Starling Social. And if you want to connect with me personally, I have a personal blog. It's at alysonshane.com. So it's spelled my name, ALYSONSHANE. And one of the benefits of being around on the internet, as long as I have, is all of my social media handles are also my name. So I'm at Alyson Shane, all one word.
Wonderful. Alyson, thank you so much for your time today. It was a blast talking with you, and I hope that we get to talk again soon.
Thank you. I really I had a great time chatting with you as well. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.